I love this part of your book. It says, good emotional health for you will ultimately lead to healthier relationships with your children. Why do you think that?
Well, because it's passed down. You know, if I'm healthy as a mom, I'm going to pass that down to you as a child. Mm-hmm. If I am anxious and fearful and all the things, then that's going to be inadvertently passed down to you as well. Can't help it not be.
True.
You know, because children, they act on what they see. You know, they act out what they see. So they're like, oh, she's nervous, I should be nervous. Kids get their cues from their moms and dads. Hey everybody, welcome to Wire Talk. I'm so excited that you're with us today, and we're going to be talking about my new book, Survival Guide to Motherhood. And in today's episode, I'm going to be looking at the difference between sacrificing for your child, which we do all the time as a mom, versus sacrificing yourself as a woman in the process. There is a difference. So let's dive in and see what they're about.
Hi, and welcome to Wire Talk. I'm your host, Emily, and this is Karen, my mom. Hello, Mom.
Hello, how are you, Em?
Good. We are talking about your new book today.
Yes.
Survival Guide to Motherhood. And I think it's a little fitting because we're talking about a healthy mom equals healthy kids. And if we're being completely honest with our listeners, we talk about, in this episode, we're talking about mental health, spiritual health, physical health, and how it all goes. Emotional health. Mm-hmm. And physically, we look great. We're popping with our hot pinks and our bright colors. Spiritually, we're with the Holy Spirit. We're ready to go. But Mom, I'm not going to lie, mental health and our emotional health, we're a little weird today.
We are not trekking, are we,
Emily?
Emily?
It's just taking us a little bit longer.
This has been the fifth take on this one.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that's just a real life check-in because, you know, moms, we can't have all four all the time, you know, and usually we are just killing it, crushing it, getting these podcasts done.
Yeah.
I don't know what about this series is.
I think it's the fact that you are flying out to Texas right after we record podcasts.
Yes.
And so we have a time crunch.
Yes.
And your dad wants me to take him down to the car dealership to drop off his car to get fixed. So I just think we're putting too much pressure on ourselves, Emily.
I didn't even know that about Mom. I didn't know. You got to tell me these things that you're going through, okay?
Yes,
I didn't know you got to go to the car dealership.
I got to go to the car dealership. Nobody likes to do that.
No, and I got to get on the airplane.
And then I got to go pack because I'm leaving
to
for
Mexico.
Cancun tomorrow. So listen, y'all, we've got places to go and people to see.
But this audience, and this is important.
Well, this is the most important.
Yes,
absolutely.
So we are
on the struggle bus for sure.
You know what? I think everyone can relate at some point with that. So, you know, we just like to be authentic here in Wire Talk and Birds on a Wire. And she gives practical tips and I just bring along a little bit of the humor to get along the way. So, but Mom, let's take a deep breath.
Let's do it.
And if we don't get all 5 recorded today,
it's not the end of the world. We have a studio in our audience that you can come back next week and I can come back after Cancun. Yeah. We'll come back together and we'll knock it out.
Yeah. So and I see you every day. So it's fine.
Y'all, the struggle's real, but we're going to get over the struggle bus.
Yes. So for real life, as Harper would say, just for you know. It's one of my favorite sayings. She says, in July, we are going through your new book, Survival Guide to Motherhood.
Very excited about it.
So if you guys missed last week, what we talked about last week was choosing joy, how children are like crockpots, how we have to be patient with them. And then also the last one we talked about is taking charge and knowing that you are the boss. But this week, we are talking about something very, very important, and that is a healthy mom equals healthy children. So to start off this week, I would love if you could give us a sneak peek into your book and read us a little bit of it.
Absolutely. So. All right. So I'm just going to start reading on the second chapter.
Okay.
There is a huge difference between sacrificing as a mom and sacrificing yourself in the process. It's imperative that while you are putting others first in your life, you not forget to care for yourself. As the mom, you need self-care so you can keep going, because the healthier you are as a mom, the healthier your children will be. It is easy for moms to invest all our time and energy into our children and not even think about ourselves until we are well beyond empty. But when you're empty, you operate out of your weakness rather than your strengths. I understand this is a fine line for us moms, and sometimes the line gets blurry. My advice is to do your best and to be aware. It is important that you periodically check in with yourself and assess how you are doing mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. All those categories are imperative to your overall health and balance as a woman. No matter what season you're in as a mom, try not to let too much time lapse before checking back in with yourself. Do your best to make sure you are pouring into yourself on a regular basis.
It's such an easy thing to say, oh, I need to pour into myself.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to be like, oh, Susie needs to do that. She deserves it so much. Let me watch her kids. Let me help her. But to realize that I need it too, sometimes is hard to do.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, sometimes I can say this myself as well. Asking for help seems like a weakness, but it's not.
No, not at all.
And asking for help and having somebody in your corner that you can talk to about things really is beneficial for you.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
So don't ever feel like you can't talk to somebody because if you have good people, that's the best thing for you.
I totally agree.
And letting you guys know that we will have a special code for you guys at the end of this episode. So keep listening to get that special code for one of your amazing resources.
Special prices, yeah.
Special prices. So, Mom, I would love to talk about each one of the things that you said, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. But let's start off with the mental health. What's something, a practical tip you could give these moms to own their mental health?
Honestly, I think the most practical thing to do is to surround yourself with wise counsel, wise friends, someone that's a little bit older than you. I mean, you could have various people in your life, but somebody that's walking with the Lord, definitely. And, I have lots of friends that are even in different states that I reach out to, prayer warriors that I say, hey, I need guidance in this. I need prayers. Will you help me, talk to me, give me wisdom? Because it's always a good just to check in with people.
There was a point I had just graduated from college and I was back in Georgia and all of my friends were still in Auburn and I was kind of having this little self-pity party for myself. And I was like, I have no friends. Mom, no one wants to talk to me. And you gave me some really hard but good advice. And you said, you do have friends, Emily, but you also have to put in the work and you need to reach out to those friends because you've been away. So you need to put in the work. You need to ask those friends. And sometimes I was like, I just wanted them to come to me.
Right.
But sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
We
have to put ourselves out there.
I had wise counsel in you
Thank you.
Pushed me to find my friends who I knew I had. Yeah. But I just had to kind of push myself out a little bit to get
exactly.
that. So,
yeah.
I think it's like you said, it's good to have wise counsel in friends that are in your stage of life a little bit ahead of you because it helps you.
And somebody that's not afraid to speak truth to you. Somebody that's not like I didn't necessarily tell you what you wanted to hear.
Right.
I sort of pushed you a little bit.
Yes.
But they need to speak truth in love so you can make sure you're in a good spot. You know what I'm saying? And if they say, hey, I think you need to go to a counselor on this and talk this through with somebody, then that's somebody that truly loves you, that wants the best for you, not just agreeing with everything you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So find some wise counsel, mamas. If you are having trouble, pray about it. Ask God to bring you some wise counsel. Yes. All right. Well, and I think probably this is one of those things that for some people, the next one we're talking about, you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. And that's your physical health. So, sometimes you can be mentally there, but you got to be physically healthy. And what do you think that looks like for you? How did you say physically healthy still in this season of life?
Well, I think we have to get outside our four walls.
Yeah.
We have to. And honestly, getting outside, running, walking, biking, playing with the kids. Do you remember like when y'all were even little, I would sit on the driveway in a chair and y'all would play all around me. And just being outside was so much better than sitting indoors and looking at the same four walls. Turn off the TV, get outside.
Yes.
Because TV or the internet is it just sucks you in and you look and you've lost 3 hours. You're like,
wait, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So just physically get moving, basically. And I know that's hard, now I was just telling, was it you yesterday or was it Kelsey? I just can't seem to get.
Oh, you're telling me.
I just can't seem to get on a schedule. I was doing so good. And then I fell off the wagon on my physical and I'm just trying to get back in it, walking and doing my exercises in the morning and stuff like that. It takes a lot of discipline.
It does take a lot of discipline. And I think I think there's always since there's 4, I think there's always one that you're really good at.
Yeah.
And
I
there's one
agree.
that you're like, oh, this is kind of hard for me, but it's going to be different for every person.
That's right.
Because I have some of my friends who their physical health is phenomenal. Like
Right.
they're going to the gym every day, and they're tracking what they're eating, and you know what I mean. And I'm like, ooh, I want to be like that, but then that's not as easy for me.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not worth it.
No, that's true.
So,
but that's why we look at all of them.
That's right. That's right. I love that you say get out of your 4 walls. I think sometimes, especially, I think it's easier for moms that are older, like with teenagers and things like that, because of sports and activities. But newborn moms and like that 0 to 2, get out of your walls, babes. You can do it. Go on a stroller ride. Go to the coffee shop. Like go to a store. Like it's good for them. It's good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, one time Harper was crying. She was really little, and you're like, go outside. And I was like, what? Why? And you're like, it's going to be great. And I walked outside, and it was almost like instantaneous. Like Harper was like, chill.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Whoa.
So, okay.
Hey friends, it's Katie. A quick break from the show to let you know that Karen's newly re-released book, Survival Guide to Motherhood, is now available for pre-order in the Birds on a Wire shop. This all-new edition of the Survival Guide to Motherhood is, in Karen's own words, everything she's been teaching for the past decade summed up in one place. You're going to want to have this book in your personal library, I promise. Whether you're a new mom or a seasoned mom, Survival Guide is full of practical wisdom that will recenter your focus and remind you what truly matters when it comes to raising your child. In the book, Karen covers the personality colors, discipline, marriage, home management, time management, resting in Christ, and even more. If you've been wishing there was a roadmap for motherhood, this is your book. Head to birdsonawiremoms.com/survival-guide, or just click the link in our show notes today to pre-order and have the book shipped to you the day it releases on July 31st. I can't think of a better investment in yourself or of a better gift to give to a friend in this season of life. Again, head to birdsonawiremoms.com/survival-guide, or just click the link in our show notes to get your book pre-ordered today. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
What about your emotional health? This can be a sneaky one. How can our moms keep an eye on their emotional health?
Well, I just think we all can just let our minds run away with us. And we start believing lies that aren't even real. You know, I tell a story in the book about your dad was on his first cruise, and he had given me the number to the hotel, and he was like, if you need me, give me a call. So, you know, like any wife, I call him and for no reason, just to talk. And he didn't answer the phone. And so I'm like, no big deal. He's probably out getting dinner, whatever. Right. And then I kept calling. And, you know, there's a time difference. He's in Europe. I'm in the U.S. And so I called till late at night on my end. He never answered. So I just let my mind, I could not sleep that night. My mind was just reeling. I bet he's in a ditch somewhere. Somebody's attacked him. Maybe he's hurt. You know, oh, he could be dead. I mean, I was basically making funeral arrangements. And the next morning he calls me, and I am so upset. I mean, where have you been? I'm wondering. And he's like, Karen, we went on a tour, I don't even remember where he went. And I was just like, oh, and he goes, what did you think? And I said, I basically had you in the ground. You were dead. And he was like, what? And I said, I know. That can happen with any of us on anything. We can let our fear get out of control. We can let our what ifs get out of control. We can let all these things, start reeling in our minds, or be thinking like this person doesn't like me and they're all ganging up against me. And it's not true.
Right.
So my thing is we have to check in with ourselves and just, have a friend once again that can be honest with you, that you can share like, hey, I think these people, are against me or whatever. And this friend can say, no, that's not true. I didn't see it that way. Mm-hmm. There's so many times, one of you girls comes to me and be like, whenever I was at this family function, did you feel like it was this? And I'm like, no. And you're like, okay, good. Well, then I must be off.
Right.
And so I just think it's good to always be checking in with people and ask yourself, like, is this reality or are these lies? Is there really a fact behind this? Because once Greg got on the phone and said, no, I was out on a tour and I was on a bus and I couldn't, call. And I was like, oh, well, that makes total sense. Then I started reminding myself, like, I should have caught my emotions way before they got so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to do that.
We all do, I think.
One year I got Grayson. One year I got Brian a table saw for Christmas. Do you remember this?
Mm-mm.
You and Dad helped me go. It was like a group gift, and it was like December 26th, and I was over at your house, and Brian didn't answer the phone. And I'm like, it's fine. He's just down in the basement. Not even 20 minutes go by. I'm like, oh my goodness, why isn't he answering the phone? What's going on? I literally thought that Brian had cut his arm off and he was in the basement bleeding to death. And you're like, Emily, he's fine. I'm like, what if he's not? And you're like, just go home. You're going to see he's fine. He was fine.
Totally fine.
He was fine. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I thought you were dead. He was like, oh my heavens, Emily. So I love this part of your book. It says, good emotional health for you will ultimately lead to healthier relationships with your children. So I know in the book you really dive into that, but I just feel like that is so wise.
Well,
why do you think that?
Well, because it's passed down. You know, if I'm healthy as a mom, I'm going to pass that down to you as a child. If I am anxious and fearful and all the things, then that's going to be inadvertently passed down to you as well. Can't help it not be.
True.
You know, because, I mean, they act on what they see.
Yeah.
You know, they act out what they see. So they're like, oh, she's nervous. I should be nervous. Kids get their cues from their moms and dads.
That's true. Yeah. What do you think the biggest difference between mental health and emotional health is?
Ooh, that's good. Well, our emotions will always lie to us.
Okay.
Normally, you know, think about watching a scary movie. And, you know, you see Jaws and then you don't even want to swim in the swimming pool, you know, because the shark may be let out and get you.
Get you.
Yeah. And that's not even reality, you know. So emotions don't always represent truth. Mental health is sometimes it needs to be treated. You know, sometimes we can't rein in our thoughts on that. And we really do need to go to a counselor or maybe even possibly get on some medicine just to calm our thoughts down, you know, to slow our brain down long enough to where we can then tell ourselves the truth. Does that make sense? So mental health is more of a physical thing like in your brain that you need more help with.
Okay. I just didn't know. So that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then the last one is the most important out of all four of these, and it's your spiritual health.
Yes.
And maintaining our sanity as moms. So what did that look like for you when you were raising us?
Well, I think me always going to church, that was always a top priority within our family. Just my quiet time with the Lord. It wasn't always quiet. It wasn't always regular, but I tried to get it in as much as I possibly could because there was a difference in my days when I had it versus when I didn't have it. And I started noticing that early on, you know, just if I gave the Lord my day from the very beginning, it just worked better. It just did. And, you know, staying in the Word. And I think that's why the devotional was the very first book I ever wrote, because I just really knew moms need this. You know, they need something that they can anchor their day to, and that needs to be the Lord. So I'm going to help them in that. I also wrote the prayer journal just because journaling your prayers for me was very helpful. I have a hard time just saying prayers. If I journal them, it helps me keep my mind on track and not like squirrel, you know, while I'm praying. And then I did hand me the 6 truths. I did want to show the moms this. So we did a group study years ago, 6 Truths of Motherhood, but it has this beautiful workbook that it comes with. It's
very pretty.
And you can do this. You don't even have to do it with the videos. You can do this just by yourself. And I think during the summer, this would be a great study to do. So let me just go over the different chapters with the moms. It's
I like the gold on the end.
Oh, it's so pretty. Being overwhelmed. How many moms can relate to that? Hold the line, part 1 and part 2. That's just holding the line as a parent. Discipline, the scoreboard of life, and that's basically when life isn't fair. What do you do? And then finding you again, which that's what this chapter of the book is about. Like, don't sacrifice yourself all the time where you don't even know who you are at the end of your mothering journey. But it's just really good. It's got a lot of scripture in it. It's got, reflection questions that you as a person can just go through and ask yourself, and then just beautiful artwork, but also a lot of scripture and a lot of thought-provoking content.
And it's the 6 truths.
6 truths of motherhood. So last night, whenever I was looking over the podcast, I thought, let's do a little free code for moms.
I love that.
WT, if you order this this summer, Wire Talk, WT, and then 6, write out the number 6.
SIX.
SIX. That's
now,
so good.
on my notes, it has the S capitalized. I don't know if it'll work either way. So just if it doesn't work with the S for
Capitalize the S.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda can do it either way, but
Okay.
So it's going to be WT6, and write out the number 6.
Well,
And that will give you free shipping. I didn't even tell what the deal was. So we'll give you free shipping if you order the book.
which is great.
Yeah.
Shipping's annoying.
The book is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. We were with Mima the other day, your mom,
Yeah.
and I was talking about something, and she goes, "Well, Emily, have you had your quiet time?" And I was like, "I try to have it every day." She goes, "Well, you need it." I was like, I do. Thank you, Mima. Like,
I love
give me
that.
some truth. But she goes, "Well, what do you do?" Like, she was digging into me. I was like,
Oh,
"All right, let's
good.
go.
Let's do it.
I said, "Well, Mima, I do my mom's devotional, and this is the devotional, and I love it. It's the Moments with God for Moms, and it says there's a title, and then there's a verse, and then there's your devotional, and then there's a prayer.
Mhm.
And if nothing else, I like to at least do this once a day.
Right.
If I don't have time to journal, or listen, let's be real. I am choosing not to have time to have my quiet time.
Mhm.
I'm picking something else over my spiritual health.
Yeah.
And that is a hard truth, but it is exactly what sometimes I do. And that might be scrolling on Instagram. That might be watching my show on Netflix. That might be talking on the phone, but it is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. When I have my quiet time, I am a better mom and I'm in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, I can sometimes feel like I'm in the trenches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So what would you say to other moms that, who feel like their trenches their spiritual life is just, it's in the pits right now?
Yeah. Just to remember that God is there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we're choosing to cling to him or not, it's better for us when we do cling to him because we hear his voice so much sooner and clearer. We feel more connected. We feel more like we have a plan. And I think we have more peace.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have more peace whenever I'm walking with the Lord.
I do too.
Just trusting in him that, he's got it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it for this episode.
All right.
So if you're like, man, I really want more.
I need more.
I need more of those 4 healths and how to get them in check. Make sure you are pre-ordering the book, Survival Guide to Motherhood. It is on Amazon right now to pre-order, and I think it's on sale. And once it's released on July 30th, it will get sent to you. But don't wait. Don't be like, I'll do that later. Do it today. And then remember, the code for the 6 truths is WT6, SIX. And we are so thankful that you are here. This whole month, we're going to be diving into this book and kind of teasing it out because it really is the best little pocket for survival guide for you. And I love how you ended the book or wrote somewhere, you're like, how did you say, I finished motherhood brave enough to tell the story. How did you write that, Mom?
I don't even remember, Emily.
You said, you're like, brave enough to tell the story. How did you do that? I don't know. It was something about surviving the motherhood and long enough to tell the tale. You know what I'm talking about?
Sort of.
You don't know where it is? Okay. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm so
All right.
sorry.
It's okay. Well, Mom said it's all we have for you today. And if you're like, man, I want more, then you need to go ahead and pre-order your book today. It's on Amazon. And I think it's on sale. So don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today. So it just comes to you. It's being released on July 30th. And you do not want to miss this opportunity to have this great book in your pocket. You do not want to miss the opportunity to have this book because it is such a survival guide on all things for motherhood. And we are so thankful that you guys are listening to us, and we can't wait to see you guys next week. Have a great day.